All right. All right. Right now, I went and clicked and made us live right now, so we don't have no interruptions. Um, right now, River Gibbs is actually working on it. He is getting situated. This is his first time using the Google Plus Hangouts, so while I figured while we're live, I didn't want to. We had some viewers already standing by. I didn't want to leave them hanging. So, um, all right. So while we're waiting on that, let me go back to River Gibbs and see what he's got going on. All right, same thing. I can see myself, but no one else. I don't understand why it's doing that for him. All right. Um, let's see. Same thing. I can see myself, but no one else. Hmm. Let me try one other thing.
So, Cliff,
Does,
Yes, Fred.
um, what is your opinion on hair samples?
Well, that's something I don't normally look for. I noticed that Daniel made a point of looking for that when we were on our first annual E.C.B.R.O. expedition this year in
Yeah, 'cause
May.
I took him into
And I
one of my
had,
areas.
I just don't see it, because I don't think about it. But
All right, all right, all right. Well,
there's
I took
this
him into one.
Australian guy, Yowie Hunter 222, or Rusty 222,
Yeah,
and he gets
I took
like
him.
garbage bags of litter, everything in an area, and searches it and pulls all the hair out of it. And he
Yeah,
always finds all sorts of fibers and hairs.
yeah, I took him into one of my areas, and I got a video on it of all the hair samples that I pulled off that pole. And when we had, if you remember, we had Stacy Brown on here, and I told him
Yeah,
about that. All
I
right, now
remember the poll.
okay, now I did send my hair samples away. One come back, unknown primate.
That's what they
Well,
all come back.
exactly. Well, here's the thing about it. There is nothing in my woods or yours down your way that has hair that's over 4 inches long, goes from black to brown to orange and real curly. Not a skunk, not a deer, not a coyote. Considering that's 8.5 to 9 foot up a pole.
Yeah, that's especially interesting. Long and
Yeah.
curly is the key characteristic, though, isn't it?
mhm.
Yeah, it's getting to the point, where if the Bigfoot ain't sitting up saying, "Hey, take my picture," people ain't gonna believe you.
Yeah,
Now I did read.
I
I
like to
did.
give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I know. I did
Yeah.
a little odd and end here thing far as the DNA, like the DNA sample guns, like the dart guns or the gun
Yeah.
that Stacy said he's got.
Uh-huh.
Now, River did make one good point, and I will say this: big as the Squatch is, they do make dart guns in the U.S. for bears. But would it really work on a Squatch? That is the
You're
best
talking another
point I've
caliber.
heard yet. Now, Cliff said he had the gun that the dart would go 2 inches in and then fall right out, which gathers hair, fat, blood, whatever else. Kind of interesting.
It is. It's amazing what they can do.
Yeah, because one of the stories around here was, you might have heard it too. It was like years ago up on the Loft Mountain side. Like you know where top half the mountain is, where you go up on the Blue Ridge Parkway in my area. All right, instead of
Yes.
taking a left, taking a right to go up Blue Ridge, you take a left. That takes you up around toward Elkton in that area. All right, well, Marine Sniper went camping up in there years back, and he told a story where, and the Park Service has got it on record, but they won't release it. And he shot. He says something that was over 4.5 foot wide, and was throwing boulders at him because he had to end up sleeping next to a tree outside with a 357. He said he put 5 shells into that thing. And he said he went up there the next morning and there was no blood whatsoever. So if a 357 ain't gonna knock a squatch down, what do you think about a tranquilizer gun? Do you think it's they're just that their skin or their muscles are just that tone?
I tell you, it's an interesting story. I like the idea about the Marine. That lends some credibility to it, in my opinion. And a 357, if you, that won't do no good, what good would anything do? Why bother?
Well,
But you know, they make elephant tranquilizers.
his gun has a 12-inch barrel on it. I guess that's what they use. I don't know, but there is a record of it, but I can't get a hold of it. It's through the Parkway service on the far as the Parkway Rangers go. It's on
Sounds like
there.
a conspiracy to me.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, yeah, Now the one that come out in front of me in '81, I'm gonna tell you, he looked like a brick wall. You could see when he was just sitting there, just doing this number here, right in front of me, and you could
Yeah,
see his muscles twitch.
every one of them. I bet.
Yeah, and everything was twitching in me too, and it wasn't good. But oh, I mean, people don't realize, oh yeah, yeah, I see them in my area, all the time, But the thing about it is, have one stand in front of you. That was a once in a lifetime thing. That will
I
never, ever,
imagine.
ever happen. Like the ones from May 10th. They give me the opportunity to see them one time, and that's it. River.
Hello.
Oh,
Welcome.
okay. I was just replying back to you on Facebook. I was on the other line.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I was using a different account.
Oh, okay. Because I know I tried to when I sent the invites. I was looking it up. I saw there was two different account. Well, three probably, but yeah. I'm sorry. I was trying what I could.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Man,
cool.
man, it is great to have you on, River Gibbs. We got a few viewers already standing by. They will accumulate here shortly. I already actually been live for the last, I don't know, roughly 5-10 minutes. Just I didn't want to let the viewers kind of wonder what was going on if we didn't start anytime soon. So, um, but we are live right now as we speak, and um, wow, I was actually trying to think. I didn't know where to start with you. I
Mhm.
think we'll start off simple and maybe keep it basic. How about let's go ahead and start off with an introduction. If you want to, it's I know a lot of people are really getting familiar with you. A lot of people are getting to know who you are. Um, I like to say that with the E.C.B.R.O. Discovery News broadcast, maybe we may have a different set of viewers than some of the others who maybe got to see you on your other radio shows. So I thought it might be best to go ahead to start off with an introduction of yourself. Perhaps some people like to know where you're from, and just keep. I guess if you want to go ahead and take it from there, as far as state where you're from, name it from, and actually um, perhaps what got you involved with all this. So.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm from a small town in eastern Kentucky, and that's where I've been born and raised. And I got interested in Bigfoots in the fourth grade, and that's when I changed schools in the fourth grade. And someone who is now my best friend mentioned to me the word Bigfoot about a sighting his grandfather had had in eastern
Hmm.
Kentucky many years ago. So of course I sort of giggled at him, I won't lie. But then I got to looking at it more and more, and I realized, hey, there's some evidence here that really needs to be looked at by some scientists who have credentials. And so then I just started looking more and more into it, and here I am today. Bigfooting is my life now.
Awesome. So yeah, I know there's been a few other questions, because some of the questions, I have people that actually sent me some questions because, a lot of people are really respecting you, and I've had some. I'll get to them in a little while. 'Cause I actually have to look them back up. A couple of people sent me a couple of basic questions, and you know, they through my inbox on Facebook, and I don't actually write them down. But um, there's one. It's kind of an odd question. I had one gentleman wanted to ask that he can't be on tonight. There's a gentleman by the name of Ambrose. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Somebody that you conducted research with in Kentucky. Does that name ring a
Yeah,
bell? Okay.
yeah, the name does, but I mean, I wouldn't consider it research. But he
Oh,
was that
okay.
friend. Yeah, he was that friend in fourth grade who told me that.
Oh, okay, okay. Actually, yeah, because another gentleman who normally participates with us, Tracy Arnold. He's also another local here out of Virginia. It's I don't know. I perhaps I don't know. He's familiar. He was familiar with that, so he wanted me to ask. Um, let's see. Um, I know you. You know, I was actually in a comment session that you were sharing in yesterday. Me and Fred were actually talking about that before you jumped on and before we went live, because some of those few same gentlemen, I mean, I understand their questions, but then again, some of it goes a little too far, even if you know what I mean. Um, I don't know. They kept after me about something because I know you were involved with the question. I was involved with someone else asking me questions, and I know how it is to get frustrated because that's why I have one specific group that I created just so I could speak my mind. Because I got to bite my tongue in all the other groups, but
Yeah.
but um this something let's get on the line of science. When it comes to research and in I know from what I'm saying, you do try to keep it scientific if all possible, correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's definitely the main thing.
Yeah. Now, do you now that was one of the discussions with some other people as far as science itself. You know, the big one of the biggest talks out there, and actually, I'm glad I came across your post last night. Because as far as what you said, that's a discussion we were all involved with a little earlier too. Was as far as proving the existence, of Sasquatch, perhaps with the body and providing the body itself. Um, now, from what I understand of you, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you do believe in the actual proof by providing a body. Is that correct?
Yes.
Or did I misunderstand? Okay.
Yes, absolutely. I definitely think that science needs a holotype because we definitely need a body to be able to prove the existence of the rest of the species, which is the only way to lead to conservation. I don't know who it was that posted it, but I think maybe Kathy Strain might have been the one that said we're
Yeah.
dooming the species if we do
Hmm.
not present a body. And as sad as it sounds, that's what is going to have to happen,
Right.
in my opinion.
Right. I mean, I can understand that, and that makes sense. I guess you could say there is a few of us kind of. I mean, I guess we can't say for sure, but I think some of us feel like there's got to be another way, but we don't know.
Yeah.
We would like for there to be another way,
Oh,
especially
most
we do.
certainly.
A lot of us care about these creatures and do want to protect them, but then again, I've always thought if I was out in the woods, I mean, like I was out earlier. All I had was my Bowie knife. I didn't go out with there with no gun because, especially where I go, there's no hunting allowed. But I always thought just like a bear, for a Sasquatch, if he come across, if he just wanted to be aggressive and for some reason had to come attack me, push comes to shove, you're gonna protect yourself regardless. But
Hmm.
I think it's more of a beauty just to observe them in their natural habitat. If you get that opportunity. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, well, you were in that post. You actually were just talking about like a tranquilizer. They make them big enough to take down big bears, elephants, or whatever. And but then again, as far as something large as like a Sasquatch, I mean, I thought on my own, I've actually thought about that, and I don't see why that wouldn't work. As far as to take one down, but
Hmm.
if we were to take one down, and without, it's not killing it, but it's also taking it down. Say for science to taking the body to observe it. Do you think if science had if they had their possibility, you think they would dissect it? Because that's how they learn a lot about a lot of animals. Kind of like in
Yeah.
basic biology in school.
Oh,
Uh,
most certainly they would, and that's the honest truth of it, and that's the
mhm.
sad truth. But
Yeah.
we've been trying these different alternatives for decades now, and it still hasn't worked. So I think that ultimately to save the rest of the population, one is going to have to be presented, and we may be waiting too long because they're definitely, in my opinion. Now I know on social media that was the thing
Mhm.
that people were hung up about, and it surprised me that that was what it was. But to me, it's obvious that they're endangered. If there were many of them around, they would be proven by now. It becomes obvious that we would have to have seen them by now and have to have had them presented to science. But to me, there's definitely a very low population, and many of the veteran researchers would agree with me. But yeah, we need a body.
All right. Very good. Um, there was I just lost my train of thought there for a second. I hate when that happens. Um, here's a question for you. Just curious, have you ever had a sighting or have seen a Sasquatch at all?
I have not seen a Sasquatch in daylight with my own two eyes, but I was within 140 yards of one, I truly believe. One night in eastern Kentucky is actually, again, where I was. I go different places in the United States, but eastern Kentucky just so happened to be where I was on this one. And it was at night, it was with a large group of people on this public event, and we went out there and we had the thermal imager, and there was a
Mm-hmm.
FLIR, a tech guy who was actually employed by FLIR, and he
Mm.
said there's a man standing out there, and we looked and it was something upright. We went back and did a recreation. It was standing over 6 foot 3 inches tall and was standing upright in the woods. So we went out after it. Some of them stayed behind filming it, and others went forward after it. And right before we got to it, whatever it was turned around and walked back down into the woods, and then 6 seconds later
Mm.
it popped up several hundred yards to the left. So whatever it was very fast on 2 feet and over six
Mm.
foot 3 inches tall in the woods of Kentucky.
Wow, that's very interesting because that to me that shows a lot of curiosity of that creature. Especially typical to me is what I call typical primate behavior. But there was a part of that, just a brief story that you explained, that actually sounded a little familiar with kind of our situation, Cliff, when we had our expedition back in May. Kind of like when we had our set of eyes and we were all watching. You know,
Yeah, that was
our,
sure interesting and close. And I
right?
want to applaud River for his interest in science.
Oh
I think
yeah.
that's a good thing and should be encouraged. And I was wondering, what do you see for your future as far as your education? What field do you think you might want to pursue?
Okay, yeah, that's very interesting. As interested as I am in science, that is not a field that I wish to pursue as a career. If I say that correctly. But I do plan to go to film school in LA, and then after that, be able to edit video for television and like television shows and reality TV, and then I move up to Northern California and do my Bigfoot research and be able to go across the country is what I was my plan. That's what I hope to do.
Hmm.
Well, I sure hope you get
Okay.
to the film industry. I noticed the first clip I saw from you was very well done. It was like the
Oh,
intro
thank you.
to your series. Can you tell
Uh,
us how that's going?
yeah, was it How to Bigfoot Hunt? Was that the series? I believe.
It was the first clip I ever saw that you did,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
and I don't know of any other series. So.
Okay. Yeah. That How to Bigfoot Hunt. That's on my YouTube channel. What
Yeah,
I
I've seen some of that. That was pretty cool. Go ahead. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
That's okay. Thanks. What I planned to do with that was to show these armchair researchers some of the basic protocols. And again, I know there's been argument on social media. There's no question. I'm young. I'm still learning. I've been in this for 6 years, but I have learned a lot in those 6 years. And even though I only have 6 years of experience, I'm seeing stuff that so many of these researchers are doing wrong. Nearly 90% of, in my opinion, what I believe, seeing them doing wrong. So I tried to do those basic things, show them on video, DNA collection, simple casting methods, and even tracking methods. You know, I'm basic in tracking, and that's what I'm trying to expand upon. But I showed them just so many different things to do, and that's what I wanted to do. I've stopped that series. I am still showing on YouTube proper protocols and stuff like that, but it's not in that specific series. I decided it was a better idea to make them individual, separate videos.
How do you base on how to track Sasquatch footprint?
Well, my dad was a police detective for the Kentucky State Police, and so he showed me basic tracking methods of suspects that he had to that they had to find or whatever in their detective work. And so I took some of that from him, and I'm basing it on how you would track a human going through the woods, but also using those things like tree breaks. I mean, I'm not a big fan of that. It's not scientific to me. But if that's added with something else that is scientific, then that solidifies it.
Very interesting. Actually, something you mentioned there. Oh, did anyone else wanted to finish asking them something, or had more to ask before I jump back in?
Well, I'll make a comment and just to throw in the conspiracy theories about dissecting bodies. Some people will tell you the government's already done that. I've heard a couple stories. I don't know if there's any validity to those stories, but like I said, I'd like to give people the benefit of the doubt if they were there. Do y'all think that could be possible, River? I just turn to you. So.
My own personal opinion, I don't believe the government knows about them. It's kind of funny to me to hear that, but I do understand other people's opinions on that. You know, that show that came out, I'm not sure if you all saw it, or some of you might have been a part of it. I don't know who all was involved, but the America's Book of Secrets show that came out, I'm not sure what year it was. Yeah, that talked about the government knowing about them. Okay, I don't know. There were some researchers who were involved with that I would consider some of my friends, but that's just it's my basic opinion that's not okay. That's my basic opinion that's not. I don't buy it, and I don't think there's a really good reason that the government would need to hide something like Sasquatches.
Right.
I read an article a few years back in 1948. The Army Corps of Engineers acknowledged Sasquatch as how should I say, a native to North America in 1948 through the Army Corps of Engineers. What's your comment? Huh?
Very interesting.
Yeah. I've seen it twice, and it says the exact same thing. That it's the Army Corps of Engineers acknowledges that Bigfoot is a natural species of North America.
Very interesting. I would have to see that myself.
Yeah. I've seen it, 2 years ago or something like that.
Well, I understand about your theory about, as far as the government not, you don't believe that they would be hiding or anything when it comes to Sasquatch. It's just with our government. I mean, I don't. This like I said, this is my opinion, and I mean, this is what I believe. Because I mean, I've actually blogs on. I shared my thoughts and theories when it comes to Bigfoot and government. It's just with our government. I mean, they hold a lot of secrets for one thing, and besides them being corrupt, I mean, like I said, they do hold a lot of secrets. And unlike, well, before I get into that part, it's just if you're familiar, I guess it was back in I got it written in 1986, I believe it was, when you had the spotted owl out in California, I believe it was. Back when that was discovered, I mean, it was a rare endangered species, and I mean, it affected the economy as far as logging and everything. And of course, it stopped the logging industry, and of course, it put a lot of people out of work. So therefore, you got a lot of people, the government and everybody else, they saw how it affected the economy as a whole. And so it's just, I think, just the way I'm looking at it, and I know other people that actually kind of shared into their thoughts similar to this, that if our government was to acknowledge or was to publicly announce the existence of such thing, or if the or even if the government didn't believe, but say they did find out, it's just knowing that there's a creature that's upright, living among us in our own woodlands. I mean that that would cause a whole mass situation of um, you know, all kinds of part of the economy, jobs and everything else. I think that would affect, you know, especially with a creature much larger than the spotted owl. I mean,
Yeah.
I know I don't know if I'm explaining myself correctly. I don't know if you're, understanding what I mean, because I know sometimes I don't make
Yeah, that's
sense
a
sometimes.
reasonable hypothesis.
But
No,
I mean,
I saw the show. I think they talked about that on America's Book of Secrets.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I mean, basically, I guess what I'm saying is, I mean, either way, if they do believe, that they're just hiding it for that theory, or then again, we'll assume that they don't know, but then if something like that, then it could cause a big problem, especially you got tons of non-believers and skeptics. I mean,
Mm.
I'm surrounded by them all the time, either at work or at or wherever. But and my family, I got people curious all the time. I got people asking me questions, and then I actually got other believers in my family, which is cool. My own sister, for example. But yeah. So I don't know. The government, but the thing is, when it comes to government, you have these other countries like Asia, over in Asia, all of them, Asia, China, I believe even Vietnam, all their governments, they acknowledge the fact that we have they have a creature living out there that's like Sasquatch, and they actually welcome outsiders to come look and research. But that's one thing that gets me. I've always, as far as other governments compared to our government, I mean, I don't know. Um, but what's your thoughts on that, River?
I don't know. It would most certainly cause some type of problem with not just the logging industry, but other aspects too. But I don't know. I just don't buy that that's happened yet. I don't think we're that far along, and I would have to see some of those things. I think Fred was mentioning earlier. I would definitely be interested in being provided a link for that to see some type of information on that. But yeah, it's people have differing opinions, and I just don't think we're that far yet. And I don't think that would be the action from the government. But that's just my opinion. I really have no idea. Nobody really knows.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of funny stuff out there though. When it comes to government, I guess I myself, I try not to get too much in discussion about the government. Then again, it's a mysterious thing, and it's interesting, the wonder about it sometimes. But tell us, I know it's summertime. How often do you get to get out? As far as either it be research or just getting out in the woods. Do you get to do that often, or?
Yeah, pretty often, especially in the summer. Not as much in the school year, but I try to go out every weekend I can. I'm going next weekend actually out with someone I work with out in Kentucky, and him and I have a very good property we're going to investigate next weekend. I didn't get to this weekend though, obviously, but I do get out as much as I can, and I just got my driving permit, so in 6 months I should be able to go anywhere I want to, especially around here.
Awesome. So yeah, you're 15, right?
Just
Or
turned 16.
16. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Those are the good old days. I miss them days. I'm that was like yeah, not too long ago. I mean, I'm 34, but
Yeah.
so yeah. So actually, having you as a guest on here, I'm not the baby on here no more, but because
Very interesting.
I was always getting picked on because I was always the youngest one out of the group. But since now we got you, I might have to start keeping you on here for now on.
Yeah, I know how you feel.
Nah, but you know what? That's the thing. You do get a lot of respect, and you know, and that's one thing I wanted to bring up to you earlier. I had on my mind while you're talking. Being your age and doing what you're doing now, I will tell you, you're gonna have people, you're gonna have the wrong people. Fred could tell you because it's happened to me, it's happened to him. Do not let anyone discourage you, regardless. I mean, and the people are gonna get under your skin. They're gonna try you sometimes, and basically what I'm saying is don't let them get to you though. Stay at it, keep doing what you're doing, and don't lose heart over it. I mean, just keep up the good work and everything.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
there's no worry about that. I'm in this for
yeah,
life.
that's
Yeah.
good.
And I tell you, when I saw the Gilman Patterson film, it kind of got me into it, and I kind of forgot it a while. 1981, I had one work out 5 feet in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
That is what turned me on. I've had that one at 5 feet. I had an 8 foot female at 30 yards, and I had a 6 foot juvenile
Oh wow.
about 2 years ago. Now, when I saw it, I thought it was the biggest bear I ever seen because it was on all fours
Mm,
until it stopped and stood up in front of me. So I got out
mm,
and wanted to approach it.
Hmm.
mm.
So
Interesting.
say, when you was mentioning y'all seen it at that many yards, and all of a sudden it popped up 200 yards down the way there,
Hmm.
they run that fast.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's no doubt that they have a very high speed. I'm sure.
Yeah. But this one stepped out in front of me. I mean, I grant you, it scared the totally bee's eyes out of me. But he just stood there and looked at me. When I turned back around, he was gone.
Hmm.
But I can tell you, he's over 4 foot wide at the shoulders. He was over 8.5 to 9 foot tall, and he looked like a brick wall.
Very very
Mm.
intriguing.
But they look exactly like a human. Everything you
Mm.
got, they got.
Mm.
It's just bigger and hairier.
Yeah.
Their skin is kind of a dark color.
Oh really?
Yeah, to a point. I mean, when you see them, their hair looks thick. Actually, their hair is really not that thick. Their hair is actually thin. It's just their skin is a dark color
Mm.
and everything.
Mm.
It's
Cool.
like M.K. Davis down there in, I think it might have been Kentucky. He made a video of a white squatch that was bouncing in front of a camera because of a dog.
Hmm.
And but it was a white squatch. Something like
Yeah,
that.
you guys are talking about the speed of this speed. How what you were just bringing up, Fred. Well, how next you'll see them, and then they'll pop up. Like you said, several yards down the way, and just in a matter of seconds. Well, that just kind of made me think about something because if you guys watched my latest YouTube video of when me and my daughter went camping and 4th of July weekend, of course at that time I didn't capture what she was doing and what she was trying to capture my attention for something. I didn't have that on film, but I had her go and explain. If you watch towards the end of the video that I have, when we were back at camp later that evening, that's one of the things I asked her. I tried to ask her detail because I was actually skeptic of the whole thing. Because the funny thing is, when we were in the woods, she was just so far ahead of us, but not entirely all that far. And she was like, "Daddy, Daddy, look, look!" She was trying to get my attention, and I was like, "All right." By the time I got up to her, I looked at her because I thought I heard something. I looked over. She's still pointing, but I mean, she's crying. She was like scared. And
Hmm.
here she's only 13 years old. She's there crying, still pointing, and I'm like, "What are you pointing at?" I'm looking up. I see this tree up ahead, and she said it was looking at me back and forth. And she saw it moving side to side from behind a tree. It scared her. And from the way she described it, it sounded like it was a possible juvenile. It didn't sound like it was that big, but she's seen it go like this a couple times. You know,
I told you they was in there, Daniel.
well, that's what got me because I did not believe. It was hard. I wanted to believe her, but it's like she was crying because apparently she saw something that frightened her and scared her. She's a young kid. And so. But now, get this. One thing, well, I thought I got it on film, but you can't see it. But I saw it right in front of me. Probably about 10, between 5 and 10 minutes later, as we kept walking in that same general area, Brianna is somewhere right behind me. I got my camcorder. I'm just kind of scanning the area, and then from out of nowhere, these bushes up ahead of me just shake violently. I mean, just like this. And that other gentleman, Grandpa Larry Davis, that was with us, he was off to up. He was off to my left, diagonally behind me, and did not see what it was. Did not see it take off. Did not see where it ran to. But whatever it was, violently shook those bushes like they were mad. And when I yelled at Larry Davis. I said, "There's something up here, straight up ahead, shaking these bushes right here." And I was like, Brianna, stay close to me. I said, I don't know where it was going. We were actually trying to be in pursuit of whatever it was, and we kept around. So all these little things had me thinking. I think she really did see something. But it's amazing. She sees something. I'm looking. It's not there. And it's like things come and go. They disappear. I mean, bears are like that. I've seen bears out in the woods. First you see them, next they're gone. But but I
Chances
don't
are,
know.
chances
Huh?
are, chances are that what you saw was, if it was a juvenile, it's probably one of them squatches from over in the Mill Creek area, right there at
Mm,
the beginning of my research area.
yeah.
That's probably what it was, because they got two juvies in that group, and
Right.
that's the area they hang out in.
Yeah, this was definitely on the lower part of the parkway there. I mean, we were still somewhat close to camp there in the Sharando area. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because right behind our camp, through the woods, you got a clearing for the power lines, and then it goes
Untuck the
into
Brianna.
yeah,
Untuck the
yeah.
Brianna.
Check out the yeah. If you guys haven't checked that video, it's actually interesting. It's called Father and Daughter Camping, whatever, 4th of July weekend. But yeah, I got some video today, just of some scenery and some. We did some hiking today and found some interesting stuff out there. But I'll get that uploaded later. But yeah, I mean, I only brought that up because you guys are talking about as far as how fast they are and everything, and just those little things kind of brought that up to mind. So, but I'm sorry if I kind of jumped in and took you guys off subject. But
River, have you ever done any researching in or around Virginia anywhere?
No, not Virginia, not yet, but that's definitely on my bucket list.
hmm,
All right, because my area, Daniels area, Tracy's area, and Cliff's area, like me and Daniels is George Washington National Forest, and I think Cliff,
Cl-
what is you and Tracy's National
Je-
Forest area there?
the Jeffers.
Jefferson,
Yeah.
and I think Tracy hits to Washington as well. Son.
Yeah,
River, have
there's
you
like
ever been to West Virginia?
Me?
Watching or
I'm
out
sorry.
looking for Sasquatches in West Virginia, River?
Oh, no, not West Virginia either, but I hope to get to those two places soon. It's kind of crazy that I've never been to those states since I'm in Eastern Kentucky, but no, never. But I think it would be very interesting.
well,
I
actually,
just mentioned West Virginia because next year the E.C.B.R.O. expedition will be there. Have
that's
you heard
Oh,
right.
about
very
Daniel?
interesting.
Would you think you'd be interested in joining that?
I would love to, but I think I saw that date. I think I'll be in Bluff Creek on an expedition on that.
Oh
Was
man,
it
Hmm.
June? Is it in
June.
June?
Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
June 20th through the 27th.
Yeah,
So.
man, I wish I could go, but I'll be in Bluff Creek.
Oh, okay. How long are you gonna be up there?
Hopefully for 3 or 4 days, but I hope to go up there and do my first expedition up there. I've done them in the southern Sierras, but I've never actually been all the way up north to Bluff Creek yet. But I think that would be interesting. I hope to do the whole thing, visit Willow Creek and see the museums and everything, and then go up and do an expedition in Bluff Creek.
Okay.
Get plenty of film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, that talking about Bluff Creek, in the Patterson Roger and Patterson film, um, uh, I don't know if this is a stupid question or not, but as far as the image of Patty, uh, well, we all call her Patty because that named after Patterson. But do you believe that same creature may still be around, or I mean, what's your opinion on their lifespan?
I have no idea. I think that would be maybe somewhat similar to humans, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but still, we don't have enough data to really estimate that right now. But I think that's a very interesting aspect. I've kind of wondered about Patty though sometimes.
Right. Well, see, one thing I do, I mean, is just because I base a lot of my research in when it comes to Sasquatch. I try to, I look at them as, primates, which I believe they are. So therefore, I kind of use the comparisons between our known primates with Sasquatch, which, for example, I guess like with our chimpanzees, for example, and a few other primates, a lot of their average lifespan is between around 60 years. But then again, these are much bigger creatures, so I think perhaps with their food sources, and you know, I think their diet has a lot to do with maybe how long they live. So,
Mhm.
because most of our primates, they they're do a lot of vegetation and insects and whatnot, and it's theory or thought though, I think a lot of them we believe that they could be omnivores. I mean, I don't know. How do you feel about that? Do you think there's a possibility that they could be omnivores where they're eating both vegetation and meat, or?
Yeah, I definitely think they're omnivorous based on reports that I've gathered from many different parts of the world. But yeah, it all depends on their lifestyle, I guess.
Hmm. Okay. Well, trying to remember, I had something here. It's what I get for not keeping my notes together. Um, while I'm working on getting something, Fred, did you have something else you wanted to ask him? Or
Uh, what do you think as far as speech goes? Do you think
oh, that's interesting.
do you think do you think they
Having like a
got
language or
language of
something.
their own?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you think they got a language of their own, or do they like down in Mexico, this guy, or somewhere in the mountains, these guys got one speaking um, ancient uh, Spanish, kind of like they spoke 1,000 years. Like
Hmm.
in my area, these guys up here know ancient Cherokee dialect, stuff like that. But what is your thought on as far as speech goes with them?
I don't know. With what I've seen, I definitely they obviously communicate in some way. Most primates do, but I don't know if I would call it a language in the traditional sense of the term. We simply don't know. There's some of the audio recordings that have came out. Definitely sound like the chattering definitely sounds like some type of communicating, but I'm not sure how advanced that is. But really, no one knows.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Because that a lot of people associate whoops with Sasquatch, which I believe they come from. Um, me and Fred, we've actually camped together. It was last year. We were camped in, well, in one general. It was the same similar area, just two different spots. But the second time we camped out there together, in the same month, just beginning. One was towards the beginning of September. One was at the end. But I think it was our second night out there, um, and it was probably after 10 o'clock. I think we had like four or five very loud, clear vocalizations of whoops, and you could clearly make them out as whoops.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
the only thing that was just disappointing about it is just we did not have our recorder going.
Uh,
I did not have the recorder. Fred had one. He had it sitting on his Jeep. It just was not turned on.
mm,
well,
yeah.
I've
But
had I've had two come within our camp. I had two boys from Maryland back in February, and we had two come up to camp and went whoop real loud, and you could hear the chatter. And one took off to the left and one took off to the right, went behind the campfire. But when they did that whoop, you could feel it go through your body. Because these big
Wow.
guys come out of their skin and everything. But I've used the Cherokee dialect, I'll say Dode Tishu Dewa Oshigwatsu, and I'll get a tree knock, a rock knock, or a whoop or something that
Really?
that they understand. But that's just what what I've learned from what's in my area. Because I believe that in different parts of the country, they understand. They got their own language. Like here it'd be it might, as far as I know, it'd be Cherokee dialect, and down in Mexico it'd be Old Spanish, and maybe up in Bluff Creek, up in California, somewhere in Washington State, they might have their own or something like that.
Interesting theory.
Think about that.
Yeah, because it's funny that Fred brought that up because I've actually had other people tell me something similar, but it's just I don't know, it is kind of weird because it gets me thinking to the fact where we know our Native Americans are familiar and have seen them and they keep record of the Sasquatch, but you got the different tribes, even from Canada, you got and then you know Alaska or whatnot you have, but is it possible? It is a theory if you think about it. I mean, what I'm saying is I'm not saying the Sasquatch lived and participated with the tribes in their at their camps or so, but perhaps they were always around where maybe they picked up on them. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Which I mean, it's like our known primates. We know as far as language goes, as far as sign language. I mean, it hasn't been proven for vocals as far as any similarities to ours, but it something like that. It's it has not been proven to known science or anything. But I don't know. I mean, do you believe there could be a possibility where they might be able to have a language of similar to humans? Um,
Interesting. I've never heard that what you mentioned before. I've never heard of a Sasquatch speaking a language, but I'm sure they have a level of communicating on their own. I'm not sure how advanced, if it could be considered a language or not. But we got to find out more information, and hopefully we
yeah.
can find stuff like that out soon.
I mean, it's definitely a mystery. There's a lot about them that we don't know, but I mean, I guess a lot of it we could assume, but it's not good to assume. I know how that
Yeah.
goes when it comes to assumption. Um, but it's just
All right,
there's a
how about structures?
Yeah. I don't really pay much attention to structures. It's not really there's no really not a scientific basis to it. Humans could make most of the structures that I've seen, and so I don't know. If there's a large tree that is basically impossible for a human to knock over, and it's built into an obvious fort, then maybe. But I've not seen that, so I don't know. I don't look much at the little oddities of the sticks and the leaves around where I research because if a human could do it, and if a human could do it, then it's not worth looking at, in my
All
opinion.
right, how about um, a tree with another tree going like this?
Well, yeah, wind can cause stuff. There can be weather too and man-made stuff, but I would definitely have to see it with my own eyes to be able to put my opinion on something like that. But many people don't realize what the weather can create, and that's one of the things I showed in one of my tracking videos. Was I showed this thing on my property that I just happened to walk up on, and I said, look, wind can do this, weather can do this. So weather can do a lot of things, and I think a lot of researchers are mistaking weather happenings for stick structures and human activity.
Okay,
right. I was gonna say yeah. It's always important to always try to rule out the possible
yeah,
obvious
yeah, because in one of my areas, I have a X that's about 30 foot across the bottom and 20 foot high. And
So
there,
you talking about the one I seen, Fred?
yeah, that one.
Yeah, that was a very large. Yeah, what he's talking about. This is very large. These trees are large. I mean, it's just if you see the. I mean, it's like
These
the
trees,
bottoms.
these trees
Yeah,
were snapped from on top of the ground
Hmm.
and laid in a big X.
that's what makes this one interesting, though. I mean, it is interesting because if you look at the bottoms of the tree, I mean, they were either. I mean, they were definitely had to be put there by something.
Mm.
Um, it's
There's
just
no
because
way humans can do it.
that's one thing to consider is always look at I mean, you can't see where they might have fallen. These are actually full trees. They're actually you got one tree in the center, and you got one here, and then one on the other side. So, but what he's talking about, it is interesting. I've come across X's before, and and when I find things like X structures, the one thing I look for is try to look at if they actually been if they fell from any surrounding tree, or if they're actually the whole tree of itself. I try to look for the root system. But
Mm.
if I could rule out that it just got pushed over here or pushed over there, then I won't really kind of consider it too much as because something like that is definitely natural. But um,
Yeah, well, I don't. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
oh
I
no,
don't.
you're fine.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying it's not possible. I definitely think Sasquatches could and would make some type of structure. They could use caves, but in my mind, when you have two straight things in the woods and they
Yeah,
fall, it's going to somehow, create some sort of X. But I would have to see
right.
it. It's probably interesting. I would have to see it with my own eyes.
Go
I think.
to go to my right this time. Go to my YouTube and
Mm,
go on to Squirreling Part Two, and you'll see that X.
okay.
And make your own assumption.
Okay. I
Because
will look that up.
what I
eh,
see, what Daniel sees, that's the biggest thing I got in my area. It's the biggest thing I
Hmm.
got in my area.
It's
Very
funny that he
interesting.
said go to his video Squirrel in Part Two because I guess he's nuts. Nah. Sorry, I
Yeah.
sorry, Fred. I had to throw that in as a joke. Get it?
But I mean,
Sorry.
you can go look at that. So you can make your own conclusion. You can see exactly, how big his X is, and you can go from there. Now, what I've noticed is that the trees were snapped from the top of the ground. These were oak trees, solid oak trees
Hmm.
that were snapped.
Hmm.
And I'll be honest with you, me and my brothers tried to debunk that. We could not do it.
How big around was the trees? Were the trees?
How big trees were about, what do you say, about 20 foot long, and
Uh, the ones we're talking about, I think now they were a little longer.
they're
Well,
about
maybe,
15 to 20 foot high.
yeah, about 20, yeah. But
Yeah,
they were probably about between 8 to 10 inches round. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Interesting.
yeah. And oak is the hard. When the oak tree dies, it's one of the hardest woods next to locust here in
Hmm.
Virginia. Because the
Hmm.
hardest wood you got is, say, I'm an arborist. The hardest wood you got is locust, and then you got red oak, white oak, and black oak. And the black oak gets the hardest.
Hmm.
And me and my brother tried to debunk that. We both took a tree and tried to break it. We couldn't even do it. There's no way we could
Yeah.
do it. But it's interesting how they did it.
Hmm.
Making that X, plus different structures and stuff. Because when you said you don't pay attention much to tree breaks, I don't either normally, but I've noticed, um, being an arborist, you know what nature can do.
Hmm.
But then I tell people, look at that snap. That snap will have a left or right twist on it.
Well, here's my question. I understand that maybe Sasquatches would build a structure to stay in overnight to be out of the weather. I would if I was in the woods, but what is the significance of the letter X? Why would a Sasquatch put that in as a structure?
That's more of a communication that I think,
Yeah.
like a communication to, like, hey, you know, go this way, or hey, stop here, or hey, it's danger, or something like that. Because
Okay.
I got a lot of them in my area.
Hmm.
Well,
Big
with
ones,
some
little ones.
simple snappings and twistings, I know, being a little familiar with some of the known primates, sometimes some of certain primates will do some snaps, but mainly form structures. Um, usually a lot of time a simple tree snap. I mean, usually is gested in the primate world, in the known primate world. These a lot of tree snaps and stuff are gestured towards other primates. A lot of it's usually towards intimidation, um, and sometimes when you have X's and stuff, I believe with some of the other things that they do, because usually it indicates either a possible a dominant male or female. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, especially with your tree breaks, a lot of snap trees and stuff. I mean, this is what some of the research and study I've done when it came to some of the known primates. Because I mean, this is how I'm basing a lot of my research, and I don't expect no one to agree with me, but it's how I'm conducting. I mean, as I'm speaking, just keep in mind I'm sharing my opinion as well, but um, because I'm not trying to force my beliefs on nobody. But
Yeah.
just due to my research, that's how I'm basing, what these are, if that's what they are. You know what I'm saying? So,
Hmm.
I believe they are possibly primate signs. So, but I am also aware of in anyone else that's familiar with a bear. Bears at all. Bears like to play with the trees. They will climb trees and snap trees up high. Um, they will pull down trees as well. A lot of these are basic from if they're not weather, I believe a lot of them are bears as well. But then there's certain ones like what Fred was talking about, the ones with a twist. Um, a lot of these are the ones I actually do kind of consider or try to pay a little bit more extra attention to them and try to study them to see if you could possibly rule out everything else before actually going on with your own assumptions. But um, there's a couple other little obvious things I try to look at too. The age of the tree. I mean, especially if the snap was fresh looking. A lot of times, especially if it's old, it's definitely naturally weathered, blown over, and snapped because it was rotted or something. Um, not a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of little things I look at. Um, but like I said, and I know that from what I understand, you cannot prove that you cannot prove it. So it's kind of hard to say, but the way I look at it, I believe there's something doing it. If you can rule out the weather and other obvious things, there's definitely something doing it. I mean, but
Hmm.
but like you say, most of it's just really theory, and that's what we're trying to do is to prove our theories. When we go out there and conduct research.
Yeah.
I'm sure you agree on that, but and then again, like I said, anything I might say, either if it's on Facebook, whatever. I mean, that's all based off of my research and study, and a lot of it, I do gather information from other people, and what I do when I gather information from other people, I kind of, yeah, you got all these notes floating around in your head, and then it's what kind of gets you thinking about a few things. So, okay, well, I got to start looking into this, and then start putting these pieces of the puzzle together. Well, okay, well, this kind of fits here. Well, this one don't even belong on the table. But it's just these little pieces kind of start to make sense after a while. But just you know, some people do come up with some far-fetched stuff, which you
Yes.
know, it's pretty obvious with some things, like especially on the web. But um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I know I'm just rambling on right now. so,
No.
but yeah, that's my 2 cents. Anyway, yeah. But
Okay.
Cliff or Fred, did you guys have any more for him?
Yeah. What is what's the main thing you're gonna look for when you go to Bluff Creek, as far as not necessarily tracks, but as far as signs?
Uh oh, hold on. Fred froze up. It
Okay.
was happened to him earlier. I think I know what I understand what he was asking.
Mm.
He'll come back here in a second. That's another thing. If it happens to you, just same thing. Just join back in the same way you got in.
Okay.
Sometimes we have. There was one night where I was having network issues where it kept kicking me out, and especially if it kicks me out, and then if it won't let me back in, then I'm kind of well, that's screwed because I got this recording right now on live feed, and it's using my data, so
Yeah.
so well, it actually will go off on its own after a while, but yeah, like I said, Fred will be back in a little bit. Um, I think I'll go ahead and ask you what I think he was getting ready to ask. Or perhaps we can wait till he gets back. Um,
Either way.
yeah, well, with what he was going to ask, if you want to answer that when he gets back, I guess when you go out there to Bluff Creek, what kind of signs? I mean, as far as looking for signs, or what is it you got? I mean, how do you look, or I guess you do research, or what is it that you do when you go out? I mean, I guess that's what he wants to know.
Mm.
Um, share exactly how you do what you do when you go out. I mean, because everybody has their own, I guess unique style, and I know I do, but and then as far as equipment goes, it all depends. I don't have all the complete resources as far as the FLIRs, you know, the night vision
Mm.
I have. It's it works pretty good, but and you can see pretty good at night with it. And my camcorder, when it's at night vision, I'm impressed with it, but you can only see 10, 15 feet away with it. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Well, I'll go ahead and answer that. The first thing I do when I get into an area I'm going to investigate, I prefer to get there during the daytime with several hours of daylight left. Actually, I prefer to get there pretty early into that area, and I go into the area where we're going to set up base camp, and we do a perimeter check, and we check for any physical evidence that might be in the area. And then what we do, we set up camp, get everything together, get all the equipment charged and ready and everything, all the daytime equipment. And then I go out and we'll look for physical evidence. We'll be looking for tracks. We go out and do what I call day scout, which is, well, I just call that simply because everyone else does. But yeah, we go out and we look for physical evidence during the day in different areas, and then that's why at night we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about where we're stepping because we've covered that during the day. So
right.
before I would always fear of stepping on some footprint in the night that I didn't know about. But if we know where we're going, if we have it mapped out, sometimes we don't go for tactical reasons, but other times if we do, it will be so we don't have to worry about messing with physical evidence. We're looking for hair samples, foot tracks, anything. So that's usually how my investigations go, and then at night we'll go full out and try whatever special tactic we have, and we'll also keep my FLIR with us, and we'll be using that. It's definitely a very good tool. I don't think I have a couple night visions left, but I haven't brought them out in the field really too much since I got the
Yeah.
FLIR.
Now, forgive me. I mean, as far as the FLIR goes, the only thing I'm familiar with them is just from seeing them how they're used on TV. I've had people send me FLIR images before from what they have taken. Um, Now the FLIR unit, and of course I know they get up there in price and everything, so therefore they must have some kind of range on. I mean, how good do they make a FLIR when it comes to range of view? Can you get some good view out of them? I mean, apparently you must. I'm going off of basically, I guess finding Bigfoot's a good example. I mean, when they're
Mhm.
up high or something, it looks like they show a quite a good cover, or maybe that's a real expensive one to get. I don't know,
Yeah, well,
but
actually, what I did early in my research, I went and took a FLIR class and was actually certified associate with one of the off shoot off organizations of FLIR. So I've had some education on these devices, and they can all see to the atmosphere. That's how far they can see. But going up,
wow.
what price it is once one of them I have, which I bought on my own, was one of the very low end ones, and one of the E series. It's an E5, but I get up soon, and the ones I used on some of the events, there's some events we go to, and they let me use them because they know I've had some education in those, and those are the big $25,000 range ones, and those were the ones that I first used, so I was kind of spoiled with that. But yeah,
Wow.
you can see heat signatures to the atmosphere, and the higher you go up in price, the higher the resolution gets, and the
Mm.
higher the options get with like recording. But see, that's one of the creature that we encountered with the FLIR at night in eastern Kentucky. The reason I know that's not a human is because that thermal imager had lasers on it. We were pointing lasers at this thing, shooting lasers off its chest, and
Mm.
we were trying to. They were making noise, trying to see what it would do. And if a human was standing out there and getting lasers pointed at it, and people were talking, I don't think they would stand there that long. But that's
Yeah.
just my opinion.
What do you think of?
Wow.
What do you think of?
Did we lose him again?
Yeah, I think we
Okay.
did.
I
All
think
right.
Freddie
Poor
froze
Fred.
up. And I was wondering something, River. Can you expound on the special tactics that you might use for night investigations?
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, most certainly. Well, actually, I've used so many of them, and I'm still trying to decide a tactic for this next weekend's investigation. I usually don't go that long, but we'll try something special. We'll do the basic research stuff with the trail cameras, set them out, disguise them, and we'll go around doing the same thing really on foot, but then we'll try decoy. We tried a decoy before one time that I got that idea from Monster Quest. Then other times we'll try um, big loud things, and other times we'll try to be subtle. But before I decide the tactic that I'm going to use, I decide, okay, do I want to take a subtle or an aggressive approach? And usually I prefer subtle approaches because they seem to elicit more activity and more responses from Sasquatches, in my opinion, with my experience and what I've seen.
Hmm. All right. How about you, Fred?
Well, that was my question, but apparently I was
You
my
got
my
froze
head
up.
was dead. Well, okay. Um, okay. So you like the subtle approach. You find
Yes,
that more effective,
yes.
right?
Yeah, I seem to get more responses that way.
Right. Yeah, I do too. What is? Uh, have you ever had to use an aggressive approach before, or anything like that?
Yeah, well, actually, that was what some of my early tactics were. I wouldn't consider myself a researcher back then when I started, but that were some of the early tactics because I got into Bigfoot. I became interested before finding Bigfoot, but then I saw the finding Bigfoot thing early and sort of kind of used some of those tactics. And I look up to some of those researchers, and so I'm not trying to say anything bad, but I do want to say I used some of those aggressive tactics, and I just took all of that in, and then I realized later, I don't know, So I started using more subtle approaches and got better luck.
That's what I do.
Yeah, from what I understand, you actually, well, I know you were actually on one of the Finding Bigfoot shows at one time, weren't you?
Yeah, I was in the audience at the town hall.
That's what I thought. Yeah, okay, right. And then, yeah, because you actually got to meet. Well, you probably got to meet all of them individually, right? Because I know
Yeah.
you actually have had some time with Cliff or something at one point, didn't you?
Yeah, me and him have spoke on several occasions, and we're starting to talk more and more through email. He sent me some cast in exchange for an autographed copy on my book. So Cliff is definitely the main researcher I look up to, and I talked to Renee was very nice at the town hall. But yes, I did get to talk to all of them.
That's great. Yeah, because we've all discussed, the group of them on several occasions. Because there's another podcast show which Shane Bradbury, he's a host of that. And, I guess he can't be here tonight, but they have their the Finding Bigfoot after show discussion, podcast, and we have fun with it. We get into discussions and share opinions and everything on this and that. But I think a lot of, I think as far as when it comes to being fans of them, I'm definitely a fan of Cliff and Bobo. I like Bobo. I mean, he's a character. I mean, but the thing is,
Yeah.
I Cliff and Bobo, I mean, I know they do research apart from that show. So especially Cliff, but so I definitely have a lot of respect for them.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. And I've
yeah.
dealt I've again I met every one of them, but yeah, I do look more at their research outside of that show, and I don't even think Cliff realizes, and I didn't realize, but me and him actually have so much in common, and I
Hmm.
think I definitely look up to him as one of the researchers in my opinion. But yes, they all definitely have research apart from the show that I tend to look at
Right.
more. Yeah.
Okay. Now, well, I don't know how long you got to speak there on, but what's your opinion about Renee? Is she really that skeptic about some of these creatures? Because, I mean, just watching some of the shows, she, one or two shows, it's like she almost contradicted herself at some point in a way.
Hmm.
Um, I guess what I mean by that is, it's just some of the things she says. Like she's like, well, she believes in them, but then, well, it couldn't have been. It kind of,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
it's kind of hard, but
Well, I definitely admire Renee's skepticism, and I do think she's has a good role, especially to pull the other researchers down. And people have to do that to me sometimes, kind of pull me down from my high horse. But yes,
yeah.
I definitely think that she plays a very good role, and I respect her opinions, and I take them into account.
Hmm. All right. Yeah.
Hey,
I mean, what
River,
you were just
this is
saying.
Cliff.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can
Go
I
ahead. Go
ask you
ahead.
a question, Daniel?
Oh
Thank
yeah,
you.
absolutely.
I heard that you had a trade with Cliff. Can you tell us about that?
The cast trade and the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very interesting. Actually, I didn't even know that we were going to do that. It was Cliff's idea, but what I had done, I think I messaged. I had seen some. I was scrolling on some YouTube videos and found some videos from Henry May. I don't know if you all are familiar with him,
Oh
but he
yeah, very.
Yeah, we know him.
yeah, well, he was talking about some cats, and he definitely seemed like he knew what he was talking about in that aspect. So I shot him a message on Facebook. I said, "Hey, do you know where I can purchase possibly a Patterson cast and a 1963 Al Hodgson cast?" And he said Meldrum, Cliff, or oh my gosh, D Worth would be my best option. So I knew Cliff more, so I messaged him and I've talked to Meldrum now. But Cliff said, "Yeah, I'll send you them in exchange for an autographed copy of your book." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, if you really want to, we will." So I sent him that. He sent me the cast, and he even threw in a surprise Orang Pendek cast, which is a first generation from
Oh.
Sumatra from the Orang Pendek project. So I was very very excited about that, and I thanked him so much for that.
Okay. That's
Can
pretty
you tell
cool.
us a little bit about your book?
Yeah, well, I wrote Bigfoot Research Path to Protocol. I wrote that maybe a year or so ago, and because I really wanted there to be a baseline of knowledge before becoming a researcher or with being a researcher, and I presented this book. It's in no means a scientific book. I try to adopt some simple scientific protocols, but it's in no way extremely scientific. I just wanted to put these basic protocols into place and maybe hopefully get some researchers to see and kind of join together, because it seems like so many researchers are focused on different things. One group will be doing this, another one will be doing that, and I think I said in the book, it seems like Bigfoot research is scattered across a novel when we really all need to be on the same page at the same time. So that's what I
Exactly.
offered, a basic baseline of knowledge, if you will.
Your book sounds worth reading.
Now, yeah, where is that
Thank
available?
you.
I mean, is it still available to be purchased through Amazon or
Yeah,
on
it's
some
you can
website?
you can purchase it through Amazon. There's a purchase now button on rivergibbs.webs.com, which is my website. I don't know how longer I'm going to keep that for sale. I'm starting to think about maybe taking it down, just simply since it's been out there for a long time now. And I think there's a lot of stuff that I maybe could have said a little bit better, because I was even more naive back then. But I think that I'm learning stuff every day, so I think definitely still something good to read. as a basic baseline of protocol. But yes, you can purchase it on Amazon, and there's a purchase now button on rivergibbs.webs.com.
All right. Well, with what you're saying
It's
as
at the
far as
bottom
well things that you
of the
could have
homepage.
with okay. Well, with things you were talking about, you know how there's some things you said you could have said better or could have improved on. I mean, I could completely understand that, and I mean, I wouldn't, be ashamed of what you have on there now. It's just, I mean, I know like some of the things I might
No,
have now, I might change on like as far as some of my beliefs or some of my, theories or teachings that I have in some of my blogs. I might come across something in another further study, which it might make me look back on something I thought was right and just turn it all the way around. But if we come to that, I don't
yeah,
think we should
well,
be
no,
ashamed. Yeah, you know. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
no,
Go
it's
ahead.
not that I'm ashamed of what I wrote. Yeah, it's not that I'm ashamed of what I wrote in the book. It's just simply that I think there's a lot of things I could have explained in better words. Some of what I said, I took a long time explaining it in these simple, basic words. But now I word it better on posts I put on Facebook that I spent a whole chapter on.
Oh,
So it's definitely a short book, but I think that it's worth reading, and it's still available for purchase. And the ideas are still the exact same. It's just I could have explained them a bit better.
right. I understand that. Yeah, I mean, like right now, I mean, part of it's for fun. I'm actually currently working on a short book. I mean, I'm not trying to, look for popularity out of it because I mean, the way I'm creating it is through my own simple software that's downloaded on my computer, and to take it as I save it, to save it, and when it's done, the whole file will be uploaded on Facebook and throughout the different groups, so people could download it and probably print it out. Because I've looked into maybe later on I might go about it because I talked to a couple known authors. Um, as far as how I wanted to get involved, what's the best way and cheapest way to get involved with actually
Yeah.
publishing a book. So right now, the way I'm doing it is simple. It's going to be easy, and it'll be basically free information that I have. That's like it's like me sharing all my blogs off of my websites I have. But basically, this is what this will be. But it's going to be a book about Bigfoot
Mm.
researchers and revealing what a lot of people, just pretty much opening, trying to get people to trying to get them to open their eyes more or less, and because a lot of people
Interesting.
I constantly look at. It's not going to be like I said, real fancy. It's going to be simple. I mean, I'm going to have actually Fred agreed to participate in it. Cliff, I don't think I asked you yet, Cliff, but I want to get a few basic researchers in there, and this is going to be a section I want with their information, and then you're more than welcome to do it too. I mean, just when I get to that part, I mean, I want to put each individual in there, and then simply explain, you know, how you conduct, research, and maybe share a tip or two, but it's just gonna a lot of it's gonna be educational. I am gonna have some of it scientifically based, but and of course, a lot of it's based off of my stuff, and I'll share it to you if um, when I get a little bit more further along, if you want to, look at it before you decide you want to add your information in it. But like I said, it's not going to be a published book, but it'll be available for free download, especially online. And I'm going to try to upload it somehow to my website. So, um, like I said, it's going to be simple, but um, it's something I've wanted to do for a while. I've always wanted to write a book, and I'm always writing notes down. Say, well, how would I start it off? What would I do? Because I'm not no author. I wasn't trained, or I didn't go to school to take any of these kind of classes. So I go about it my way. um, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure it's simple to do. Just I got a creative mind. I'm not. I end up creating things. Because I get creative and I just start doing things. But I get random sometimes. So well, today I'm gonna start this project, and I mean, I'll continue with it till it's done. But sometimes I get myself in trouble by I already got things already going on, and then I always add on top of it, so I end up stressing myself out because of it. So then I got to slow down and back myself up. But yeah, that's the thing. Don't let yourself get overwhelmed too, because between I got a regular job I work, so I work that, and then I look forward to coming home because I'm okay. Because while I'm at work, I'm always thinking, I was like, and my mind's always brainstorming about something. So I'm always excited, and when I get home, I got to get this down. I got to look this up. I got to research this, because I'm always thinking about wanting to learn about something and then sharing it and then creating something about it. So I do that quite a bit, with a few things. And so
Mm.
I know I got to stop that. I got to slow myself down because Fred's even told me, yeah, he said you gotta, slow down, take your time, you know, and I have slowed down, but I still find myself, getting ahead of myself sometimes. So, and I know I can't be doing that all the time because I have too much going on besides this too. So, but yeah, I mean, does it ever seem? Because I know you're out of school right now for the summer and everything, but do you ever find anything getting overwhelming for you when it comes to doing this, or? I mean, I mean, apparently you must be
Well,
handling it pretty
certainly
well.
yeah, well, certainly I definitely am at a loss for time, especially during the school year. And I'm
Mm.
always trying to keep Bigfoots in there, and that's definitely my main goal. And during the summers when I really get to push hard, and that's what I'm hoping to get squeeze in a few more investigations before the school year starts back. But definitely, it's time is definitely something that I would love to have more of, and hopefully I will in the next few years.
Right. Okay. Now, so you're 16, so you must be going into the 11th grade, or
Tenth.
oh yeah,
I'm
10th
sorry,
grade.
the connection cut out.
Oh, I'm sorry. It
Yeah,
might
I'll
have
be
been
going
me.
into the 10th grade.
Oh, okay. Now, after high school, do you plan on participating in, or I mean, or going to college or anything, or?
Yeah, hopefully to a film school, a film academy in LA.
Okay, that's right. All right. All right. All right. I was thinking about something earlier because when Cliff asked you about coming to West Virginia, and you said you're going to be out in California, Bluff Creek, around that time. Um, I'm trying to think. When exactly are you going? All right.
It's sometime
I'm think.
during the month of June. We're still starting to get the schedule planned out, but I will be in California the entire month of June. But we're gonna hopefully make that investigation as long as we can.
Okay.
I think there's a bit of
Yeah.
a lag. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hold on. We just got a new one. Darren Rawling.
Yeah, hello everybody.
Hey, how you doing?
Good,
All right.
good.
Darren. Darren, I think you got some feedback coming in on your end.
I just gotta escape the kids so I can be quiet here.
Okay.
Sorry, I gotta be in the dark.
That's all right.
You know how that is, right?
All right. Hey, Darren, would you happen to have a headset or anything? Or earbuds?
Feedback.
Yeah, because I'm hearing myself come back.
All right, let me see what I can do.
Okay. All right. Uh, hold on. Let me take care of something real quick.
How long is this?
Okay. There, I had to mute him because I'm still hearing feedback. All right. Maybe it's not him. I'm still getting feedback.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Hold on. This is hard to hear myself. I can't even hear myself talk. Hold on. I'm gonna try something here. All right. I think I've. No, it wasn't Cliff.
I hope it's not me.
All right. No, I don't want to try to meet you. I don't know. I'm gonna.
Phoenix,
Fred.
have you casted any tracks yet?
I'm sorry, there's a lag. I can't. I'm having trouble hearing.
Yeah, Fred, try to speak up for him because he's having.
All right. Have you ever casted
trying
any tracks yet?
Yeah, I found my first trackway in Kentucky, and this was in Eastern Kentucky. I'm not sure how well you guys are hearing me, but yeah, it was in Bath County, Kentucky. Was where I found my first trackway.
Cool. How many did you find?
There were, I think it had to be a juvenile. There were several tracks in a row. It went on until it went into a grassy area, and I couldn't see it anymore. But I was very naive back then. That was several years ago, and I'm still not sure if it was a trackway or not. I would like to think it was a juvenile, but I still go back and forth. The picture of that is on my website, rivergibbs.webs.com, on the evidence page.
All right. Hey, if you guys want to carry on with the conversation, I have to step away for a couple minutes. I will be right back.
All right. Yeah, here in Virginia, in my area, I'm right off the Blue Ridge Parkway and the Appalachian Trail.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, the highway for squashes is on the Appalachian Trail runs up and down the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Right, okay. I found like in my area, I have two juveniles, and I have found I'll tell you what, I just got this not too long ago.
Oh, very cool. Is that a track cast?
Yeah. This why I got this track here is why I was zapped at.
Mm.
Now, what's your opinion on being zapped?
What do you mean by that exactly?
All right, you've heard Scott Carpenter.
Yeah, I've heard that name.
Okay. Only way I explain it is I went into an area in the Kennedy Ridge area, and when I got to a certain point, it started getting migraines real bad.
Hmm.
And that told me I was getting too close. Then I walked out and walked around the other side. Now, when I went in, there was no tracks whatsoever. I went into it, went halfway up this area, and I started getting another migraine, and the further I went in, the more it hurt.
Huh.
So I backed out, and when I come out is where I found this track at. It was right there coming. Apparently I got three clans who live in my area, and this one had crossed going from my left to my right behind me. I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I got this cast. I was up on the berm. Apparently they would follow me in there. Zap is I don't know. He's kind of feels like you hit an electric fence or something like that, but not as bad.
Hmm.
When they're around. That's the only way I can really describe it.
Yeah, I would have to look that up to give an opinion on that.
Yeah, it's either infrasound or ultrasound. I don't know. I can't. Really
Oh yeah, infrasound. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that problem with infrasound, that was a different topic that we had before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, I've taken Daniel in that area too, and he got a little bit of it. But I found this track. We found another one. We was coming out, and we found a juvenile track that was like halfway in the creek and halfway out the creek. We couldn't cast it because it was full of water. But it was about what, 6.5, 5.5, 6 inches long, Daniel. That track.
Yeah, good 6 to 8 inches.
Yeah. But yeah, we got. I mean, this track here is about 18 inches, 17, 18 inches long. You know. But I was
All right,
lucky to
hey,
get this one.
all right, I'm gonna try to hold on. All I hear is myself repeating myself when I talk. It's lagging pretty bad on my end. Because due to the time, I don't know if hold on, I can't even talk. Let me see if I have my other headset nearby. And I don't think it is. It's not within reach.
But check out Mike Carpenter's website, Bennett. I mean, River.
Okay, I'll check it out.
And he's got a lot of stuff on the study of DNA and stuff like that too. That you'd be interested in.
Cool.
I've
Very
learned a lot from him too. Yeah. He does a lot.
You guys hear me okay right now?
Yeah.
All right. Well, see, when I talk, I still hear it repeating. So I don't know what's causing this.
Yeah. Does your mom or dad go out with you on some of these I just got the name of the word.
Yeah, expedition.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
Both
my parents are very supportive. My dad goes out with me on many of the expeditions that I go on, especially out in California. And he's what really got me interested in the woods, and that's how I really became interested in the wilderness was through him, because he always used to take me raccoon hunting.
You like that too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was raised on coon hunt, bear hunt, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
I found out you learn more by going out and observing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the wildlife and everything in the area. You know, stuff like that. But yeah, I was one question with Dad. Mom and Dad went out with you at times.
Yeah. So they're both definitely very supportive, and my dad goes out with me on many of them.
Good.
River, I just wanted to take a minute while I can to say knowledge takes many paths, and I hope you have much success in your film and Sasquatch pursuits.
Well, thank you so much. You too.
All right. Well, yeah, River. Before you, are you about to jump off the river?
What?
Are you about to jump off?
Yeah, I gotta go soon, guys. I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought Chris was always. Well, yeah, because I am gonna be ending this soon. It's just especially because I'm having trouble on my end. So, yeah, I want to thank you for being on the show. You covered a lot of information. You shared a lot of information. And I always pay attention to a lot of your postings and your blogs and everything. So, definitely keep up the great work. We'll all be watching you, and I'm sure you'll see us around Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Sharing information and everything else. And then, and before we go, anyone else that wants to, stay on for a few minutes, we'll have an open discussion. Like we normally do on the show, we just go into various topics, and but feel free. This is the end of the E.C.B.R.O Discussing News broadcast. Be sure to tune in next Saturday at 9 p.m. We're going to actually have a young lady with Crypto's Four Corners, and that should be a very interesting show. So, and then again, thank you very much, River. I was glad to have you. So.
Thank you for having me on.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have you on again another time. So, yeah.
Good luck, River.
Yes.
Yeah,
thank
everyone.
You so much.
Thank you for viewing in, and we're going into our after show of the show. So, and we're going off now.